What up, though? U.S. National Park Service. National Park Service. Arrival of the first Africans in 1619. Now, understand this before we get into this. This is the National Park Service, and the title of this article is Arrival of the First Africans in 1619. Understand something. This has nothing to do with Africans. This has everything to do with you and your people. We were always told, I don't know if we were taught this necessarily, but we were always told and showed that we are here as a result of these first Africans, as well as millions of others that followed. But right here is the arrival of the first Africans in 1619. This is what we've been told, sold, and showed. Now, this show, as well as the other shows I've done, it's just to add balance to what we was told, sold, and showed. Arrival of the first Africans in 1619. Pay attention to the wording. The author of this article from the National Park Service didn't make any mistakes with the wording, okay? All the words were intentional. Fort Monroe National Monument. Arrival of the first Africans in 1619. Here's an illustration. It says, first enslaved African landing by Holmes. Interprets the anguish of captives forced into slavery. Okay? That's the romantic story that a lot of people have become intimately involved with. Okay? Here we go. He brought not anything but 20 and odd Negroes, which the governor and Cape merchant bought for victuals. John Rolfe, 1619. Now, when you look in a Virginia record, this isn't listed. This 1619 John Rolfe dropping off the first Africans. And for the sake of this article we're reading, let's stay with this article. Let's just stay with the article. He brought not anything but 20 and odd Negroes, okay? Now, just for the purposes of this article, our people went through a stage where all the way up until MLK, we were being called Negroes, right? The arrival of the first Africans, what the author of the article endeavors to do is to make Africans synonymous with Negro. Why? Well, why have they tried to pull the wool over your eyes on anything? Because the people who are perpetuating this lie is criminals. He brought not anything but 20 and odd Negroes. Now, It is also, I've also read that it said 20 and odd negars, which is a word that was synonymous with females. That's the oldest one I've read, is where it's associated, the 20 and odd is associated with females, women, or girls. Okay, but right here, to the very title of the article is a lie, because it didn't say this John Rolfe, which is also possibly a lie. Even in that lie, it never said Africans. It said Negroes. And we know that Negroes have been synonymous with not only people from the soil portion that is termed Africa, but also from the soil portion they call the Americas. The first ship carrying enslaved Africans arrived at Old Point Comfort on August 25th, 1619. An English privateer ship captured them from a Spanish slave ship. So they captured these people. See, we're talking about humans here. Humans with no names. Listen to this. They captured them from a Spanish slave ship. So these people were on a Spanish ship. The privateer traded the enslaved Africans to English colonists in Virginia for food. They got them from a Spanish ship. The Spanish ship could have been coming from anywhere. Let's see. They're going to tell us where the Spanish ship came from. The quote, human cargo, they came from the African kingdom of Ndongo in present-day Angola. So they're on a Spanish ship, and they got these people from Angola. Now, if you know, Angola is not necessarily on the west coast of Africa. It's more south. I mean, you have to travel a great distance to get from Angola to the northwest coast of Africa. Look at a map. It's not a short distance. It's not a short journey, but they got these people. What we're told is they got these people, the Spanish, and then the English privateer ship captured them or took them from the Spanish ship. Now, that's something in itself. They took them from the Spanish ship. They took these 20 and odd Negroes, who the article falsely calls Africans. And then they tell us that these 20 and odd Negroes came from the kingdom of Ndongo in present day Angola. Why is this article important? Why is this what we're doing here, breaking it down? Why is that important? Because there's been a narrative that's been perpetuated since the 1600s, since the 1700s. They were among 350 Africans bound for a life of slavery and servitude in Spain's New World colonies. So the English privateer took 20 of these people of the 350 from a Spanish ship. English privateers attacked Spanish. English privateers attacked the slave ship Sao Joao Bautista in the Gulf of Mexico. So the English privateers attacked the Spanish ship that had 350 Africans on it. They took 20 Negroes. They took the enslaved Africans by force. One of the privateer ships, the White Lion, brought the enslaved Africans to Old Point Comfort. The point was part, the point, Old Point Comfort, the point was part of New English colony of Virginia. There, the White Lion sold 15 women and 17 men to English colonists. It said that they brought not anything but 20 and odd Negroes. This is a lot more than 20, right? But for the sake of the article, for the sake of, they could have gotten the numbers a little mixed up. I mean, they got the people mixed up, right? So 15 women, they said 20 and odd Negroes. Already we're 15 women and 17 men. Women and men. Now they're women and men. They're not Negroes and Negresses. They're not Africans. They're women and men. See, understand the term, when you put the term Negro on someone, it's almost as if Negro and African have become synonymous with slaved or enslaved people. But now these people are made human again, women and men. Pay attention to everything. The Virginia colony's laws did not recognize enslavement. It is unclear what their official legal status was. Let that sink in. It's almost like everything before this sentence is insignificant. Yes? The Virginia colonies, they took the 15 women. Listen, the Point Comfort, Virginia, was part of New England colony of Virginia. There, the White Lion sold 15 women and 17 men to English colonists. To English colonists. Which English colonists? So the English colonists they were, I don't want to say wealthy, but they were well off enough to employ people in 1619. I mean, it is said that the Pilgrims came in 1607, right? Yes, there was a colony here in Virginia, but when did that colony get started? And it didn't get started too much earlier than 1619. And they were already well off enough to employ people. Because think about it. It says the Virginia colony's laws did not recognize enslavement. It is unclear what their official legal status was. So from this statement, we can come to the conclusion that we actually don't know if these people were actually slaves or not, enslaved or not. What it sounds like to me is these people were kidnapped, or this never happened. This is similar to the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy. Something romanticized. It's a movie. It's an act. Let's call it the John Rolfe Act. Theater. The Star and Banner, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania newspaper. The Star and Banner, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania newspaper, Friday, December 13th, 1850. The Star and Banner, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, Friday, December 13th, Friday the 13th, 1850. Arrival of a load of girls. Yesterday, the cars on the Little Miami Railroad at one time brought down 214 girls from 12 years old to 20 years old. They came from Yankeedom and are going to the new factory now just starting at Carrollton, Kentucky. The girls were, most of them, good, fresh-looking specimens of the great Yankee country. Before they are 2 years older, they will probably all be married off and perhaps doing the genteel in some of the elegant mansions of our Western men. Good luck to them all. Where will Yankee enterprise cease? Do the right thing.